all for coming for this glorious day for the 3 housing authorities that will be awarded today. I know some of you made some pretty long trips to get here, but I know you really wanted to come down and see what the #1 seaport looks like in the state, and Gloucester being #2. But if you want to take a look, Dave, out the windows before you leave, you can see how a working waterfront really operates. But no, I do want to thank everybody for coming this afternoon, and Lieutenant Governor, for your blessings and your kind. I know it's a long trip. There were places shorter than this to come to make this award and come all the way to southeastern Massachusetts. So it's very much appreciated to us. I want to welcome you all to the DeMello International Center. This is the become the hub of downtown New Bedford. There is just about everything you need in this building in terms of social services, from healthcare to education to housing. To immigration services. We have Representative Keating, Congressman Keating on the first floor. So the building was about 2 years ago, was nearly vacant. The only thing in the building was the Santander Bank on the first floor and a couple of law firms up on the second floor. And it has in 2 years been filled with agencies like ours, and brought a sort of a new lifeblood to this area of downtown New Bedford, and we're excited to be here. Lesley University, I should point out, just opened up a school in this building as well, so classes are now being held here as well, instead of having to go into Cambridge or go into Brockton to get your college degree. And they've worked a deal with the owner of the building where 90% of your credits out of the 120 you need can be transferred automatically, which is something that is pretty much unheard of in the university. So we're very excited to be part of that. The last time I was in the presence of the Lieutenant Governor, we were down in Mattapoisett for a ribbon cutting ceremony for a solar farm that we are involved in. And I was very excited to be able to tell the Lieutenant Governor that that at this time, or this fall of 2019, we will probably be, or we will be, the largest solar providing housing authority in the state. We're under construction now with our second EPC. We're excited to be very much a part of that, and we just received our first SMART incentive award, so we are now moving forward, and construction should begin shortly, so we're pretty excited on that. And I guess you probably asked what that has to do with why we're here today. And it has nothing to do with it, other than I had 3 minutes of an opportunity to do an introduction, and I thought I would self-prophesize what we're doing here. And Senator Montimi isn't here, who was going to suck up 20 minutes of what everybody else was going to say. So with Mark not being around, right, gives me an opportunity to put a cheap plug on what we're doing in New Bedford. But in all seriousness, this administration has been great to housing. We've been, at times decimated on the federal side, not a big advocates on the federal government for low-income housing, but this administration has been phenomenal with the $1.8 billion bond bill, and $600 million of that going towards modernization improvements. We've made good use of the money. We received an extra $1.7 million last year in modernization money, which allows us to expedite a lot of projects that we had on the burner from 2020, 21, 22 that we've been able to bring forward. So this administration has been nothing but favorable to us. This, the SMART program has allowed us to do almost an extra $1 million worth of work because of the tax incentives that we were able to garner out of that. It's been huge, and all that money will just go right back into the programs again. So that's why I segued in with the solar project, because I think it's important that the Lieutenant Governor understands that their decisions as an administration, what it has done to help housing authorities and for what we're doing. We do yeoman's work every day. We're seeing people coming in that we have never seen before applying for housing. There's a great article in the Boston Globe today about the elderly being squeezed out and where are they going to go. We did about 4 times as many applications in 2018 as we did in 2017. Huge numbers are coming through the doors every day now applying for housing. And it's people like my mother and your mother who just can't afford to maintain their homes anymore. I was going to say halfway houses, but I don't think my mother would be thrilled if I mentioned halfway houses with her name in there. But the assisted living facilities are just cost prohibitive. People just can't afford them. And the Globe article today is very telling that these $6,000 to $7,000 a month to pay to live in assisted living facilities, even selling a house today for $250,000 doesn't last long. And we're seeing these people coming in, and the elephant in the room nationally and locally is there is just not enough housing to put these people up. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I know that 5,000 people go to bed every night that have a pillow under their head and a roof over their head. Thanks to the work that we do, and thanks to the financing that you have given us, and there's 5,000 other people out there on the waiting list waiting to get in, and we hope someday we can take care of them. But thank you. Okay. So with that, I'm going to introduce the Lieutenant Governor, who is here with. I don't know why she's here. It's sort of a covert operation, but I can sort of. As this government system seems to work, and I mentioned to Amy a short while ago, I said, if that's the way it works on the state level, I can't imagine what it's like on a national level. But I think I know why you're here, and with that, I'd like to have you come up and do your thing.
All right, Steve, thank you. What a wonderful story. What a great story to tell. What a great story to tell. I'm very proud of you and your team here at the New Bedford Housing Authority, and I'm very pleased to be here with all of you. Usually when I come, it's good news, so that's a good hint of what's to come, right? Let me just say a few things. I'll let you debate about the coastal communities and all of that. We have 78 coastal communities. I've had the opportunity to visit every single one as part of the Seaport Economic Council, where we're leveraging our coastal assets to create more jobs and opportunities. We've made a lot of investments right here in your state pier, and how are those clementine shipments coming into the refrigeration units on the pier, and all sorts of great things there. And I've actually been able to visit every community in our Commonwealth, all 351, meeting with the local officials and community leaders who care deeply about their respective communities, and like you are making decisions to really help and improve the quality of life for the residents who live in that community today, and for future residents to want to call your community home. I want to just talk a little about collaboration, because that is also a key part of how we are successful in Massachusetts. And I have three of my colleagues in the legislature here today. My friend Chris Markey, Representative Shauna O'Connell from the Taunton area, and your newest member of your delegation, Representative Hendricks. You've got a great delegation here, and I know Mary's here from Senator Pacheco's office. Just a great delegation that really, is listening and hearing what the priorities are, and when on Beacon Hill, really pushing hard for what you need in this community. And it's been such a pleasure and an honor to work with all of you. You talked about the bond bill, a $1.8 billion bond bill, and other investments that we're making. I mean, the bond bill, while this is an executive privilege to think about how to utilize a lot of those dollars, it's the legislative privilege to make sure that we are authorized to have those dollars to spend. And this is clearly the collaboration that's working in Massachusetts when the legislature and the executive office work together. That's like the biggest bond bill we passed for housing in the history of this Commonwealth. And I'm very pleased to see the dollars come back for maintenance and facilities. I know we've got one of your maintenance members of your crew here. Those dollars are stretched and used to make these homes really presentable for the residents who live here, and safe for them as well. But at the same time, while we're preserving affordable housing and subsidized housing, we need to create more housing as well. And that's a challenge that the legislature and the executive office accept. And we put out a proposal for now the second time before the legislature that hopefully will give municipalities more tools around zoning. We haven't had a zoning reform that can catalyze more housing construction in 50 years, so the time has come. And if we can give the local communities the ability to change and adopt best practices around the creation of the kinds of housing that you need and want in your community by a simple majority vote, it will allow for more private investment to come and start to build out the kind of housing that you need. Whether it's more housing options for older adults so that they can stay in their community and afford to live in their community. if that happens, guess what? If they live in a single-family home, that single-family home can be freed up for another family to come in to the community to live. So senior housing, transit-oriented development, downtown housing, whatever it is that you as a community decide that you need and want to build, then with the flexibility under our proposal, you'll have more of an opportunity to do it. So that's a little infomercial and a little reminder, and they don't need it, to this team that working together we'll be able to get more of that done. Now, today, I just can't thank you enough for the housing authorities receiving these grants, for stepping forward and for embracing a program that can really help your residents literally build a better life in your community. I have firsthand knowledge based upon Worcester Housing Authority's program that it works. It works with a whole lot of love and care and compassion and attention to detail, but it ultimately works. And the reason why it came to me is because of one man named Ray Mariano. And if you're in housing authority world, you all know Ray Mariano. He was a former mayor of the city of Worcester, and then he became the executive director of the Worcester Housing Authority. And he told me one day, and he mentioned this to the governor as well, that there were 5 generations of family living in the Worcester Housing Authority. 5 generations. That's all they knew. That's all they had access to. And they just continued to the next generation to the next, staying in Worcester Housing Authority. And he said, you know, I'm an Italian-American from an immigrant family, as I am. Then we came to this country for a whole lot more opportunity than that. And he said, I'm going to give a program a try and see if we can make it work. And we learned that you can't force people to do this. You can't mandate it. You can't direct it. But you can partner with them and help them become successful. And he designed a whole program that doesn't have a time limit, but it does have some parameters that you have to meet. And you can get advanced off the waiting list if you agree to participate in the program. And if you agree to participate in the program, then you have to participate in either a skill development, you know, through work, or partner with your community college and try to get a certificate, or volunteer at a housing authority position, or work in one of your workplaces because of the partners he has with employers, and start to learn how to work. And that whole skill around learning how to work builds your confidence, builds your ability to communicate, allows you to understand that you get up and have a purpose to go to do something and to feel like you are contributing to your community. And through both the work component, the skill development, the access to higher degree, whether it's a certificate or a GED, or learning English, is all part of the program. And what he discovered over time is that residents started to earn some money, and they were working and receiving a paycheck. And he said, well, you have to pay rent, so as your rent goes up because your earnings are going up, then we're going to make sure that you just continue to pay the same rent, but we're going to take the balance and put it into a savings account for you. Because isn't that part of the American dream, that you can work and earn your way, but you can also save and be able to do more with a savings account? So I talked to Alex Carrera, who received this torch from Ray Mariano, and asked him today, how is this all working out now? It's been 5 years. And how they did it in Worcester was to set up an ABL, it's in a Better Life Village. So in one of their developments, they have this program. And he said that over the 5 years, they had about 400 families being served at that apartment area. It's called Curtis Apartments. And when he started the program, 37% of those families, 400 families, were employed. Today, 70% of the residents in that village are employed. That's a major swing in employment. And employment brings a whole lot more opportunity to their lives. He also said that over 150 adults so far have completed an education program and have obtained a certificate or a degree from their partners, the community college. And I'm so happy that President Douglas is here to say a few words about her partnership with both New Bedford and Taunton. He also said that 3 to 5 families a year are now successfully moving out because they have savings, they have jobs, and they want to move out, and they have a pathway to do that. That frees up opportunity for other families to come in. He said on his website there's a video of a woman who put $16,000 into savings in this program. She was able to leave the Worcester Housing Authority into a home, and that home she was able to own because she had a deposit to put down to buy it. And she's actually just purchased a second home and is now becoming a landlord to offer housing to another family that needs it in the community. So these are real stories, they are compelling, and they are the right thing to do to help the people in your community literally achieve a higher level of success and satisfaction and happiness living in a place that they got started in. So there's so many reasons why this makes sense, but I also know that it takes a major commitment on your behalf to do it. And that's why I encouraged my friends at DHCD to really think about which housing authorities could be a partner in this program. And that's how you are all here today. And be willing to use some of this money initially to help you hire the coaches that are needed to do the case management. That's going to be so intensive to help these individuals stay on track. They're going to have more challenging and difficult days than they will have good days getting started on this. And to coach them and help them to stay committed and be confident, and we will partner and help you succeed, is a big part of it. Having the partnership with the colleges, your educational facilities is also key, and then the private sector. Alex also told me now in 5 years they have over 100 employers who are partners in providing the jobs and opportunities to the residents at the Housing Authority. So the private sector here has to really think about being a place, and you all tell me how many times you have jobs but can't find enough people with the skills to fill your jobs. This is a pathway for individuals that are in your community to access a program for the certificate or the degree they need for your workplace. And boy, can you both benefit from that experience. And then ultimately, you will succeed, and it will come with us being right there with you. And we'll closely monitor your success in these additional programs in Gloucester, in Taunton, and Stoughton, and here in New Bedford. And I personally will take an interest checking in with the directors to make sure you have what you need to keep it going. Just as I circled the room, someone mentioned to me, we've tried similar things in the past, but we just couldn't get them to ultimately succeed. And we've learned from those examples that you can't have a date certain that says, if you don't accomplish all these things by this date, you're out. That will never work. Life isn't like that, right? These are complicated situations, complicated health issues, just complicated issues of poverty. You have children, you have lots of things involved. So there's no time definition that way. The time is when you're ready, and we're going to help you be ready to succeed. So I think that's a really big difference from what has happened in the past and what this program is all about. So here comes the good news, right? I'm going to call upon the housing authorities to come forward and accept their awards, and we can take some pictures together, and then I know that the delegation wants to speak as well. So the first award will go to the Gloucester Housing Authority. Congratulations to Gloucester. Your grant is in the amount of $309,966 to the penny. So, so congratulations. Why don't I give out the rest, and then you can come up and say a few words. We also have Taunton and Stoughton here, and Taunton is receiving $287,500. So why don't your team come up and celebrate you. Congratulations. Yep, thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, let's step over this way.
Okay.
And Shauna, you're going to come up, and we'll take the picture for you. Okay. Oh, thank you. Friends of course. Thank you. There you go. It's all yours. Yep. Okay, we'll have the whole team, I guess, come up for New Bedford. You're receiving $384,273. And I do want to extend a thank you to Mayor Mitchell for really understanding the importance of this program and for our partnership with the mayor and his office. So congratulations to all of you. Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you. Okay, very good. You're off to a great start, and thank you.
This way. Is it good, Chris? Okay, so where am I? All right. First of all, thank you very, very much. As I said earlier, these programs, on the federal side, we have a similar program on the Ross program, Resident Opportunity Service Support Services, and they work. And they're not to be taken as, these are not punitive programs where we're here to punish somebody for living in public housing. We have an awful lot of people that come to us during, you know, certifications and review times that want to work, that want to get out of this cycle of poverty. And, you know, there is this somewhat of a big brother syndrome. You know, public housing as it's designed really doesn't work on the income-based program, and we take 30% because every time you make more money, we take more money. And, you know, they might be poor, but they're not stupid, and it just sort of de-incentivizes them from moving forward. And so we've really got to take a look at the whole program, but it's programs like this that really gives these people an opportunity to participate, and more often than not, they will come in and they will participate because we're hearing from them. So thank you very, very much. I'm going to take about 4 minutes and just show you a quick video of what the program is like. So I think you can sort of get a flavor for what we're hoping to accomplish or what we've accomplished in the past.
One day I said, I want something more. This is not what I want for my life. I want to teach my kids. I want to be better for my kids and give my kids a better life.
I've always wanted to own my own house for my kids. I've always wanted them to actually run around and do whatever they wanted to do on our own property. And I couldn't give that to my kids, but I'm giving it to my grandkids.
I was dreaming for years, wanting to go back to school, but it was no way for me to go to school because I didn't have the possibilities. I didn't know where to go, what to do. I didn't know. So it was amazing how I had that chance.
Well, I came to New Bedford when I was 18 years old. I was pregnant. I came from Puerto Rico. Sometimes I used to work for 2 jobs, 3 different companies, hard days. My life is a little crazy. Also, I have time for my kids too, because I love to be with my kids.
The one thing that was holding me back so many years from actually buying my house was me. You know, you always have that fear of, can you do something? And that's the scary part. That's what always holds a lot of people back.
I used to work second shift and my kids waited for me. every night, so it was hard for them and for me, for them to go to school next day. So I decided to move on.
Living here, you have people that, like Lisandra, that help you to find a job if you don't have a job, go to school if you don't go to school, be a better person. So I called Lisandra again and I said, Lisandra, I want to do makeup. I want to be a makeup artist. She started looking for a school.
I needed a little push. About 2 years ago, Esperanza from Public Housing awarded me a certificate for a first-time homeowners class, free course. And I think that was the push that we finally needed because we were talking about buying a home for a long time.
One day I was walking by and I saw Esperanza from the Bedford Housing Authority. So I explained to her, I got laid off and I'm not working right now. She's like, do you want to go to school? I'm like, yeah. So we met and she made the phone call. So the summer I got laid off and I started BCC in the fall.
And I did it. I got my certification as a makeup artist. I'm so happy. I love makeup. Oh my God. I love so much this career. Thanks to this, I could, save and buy my place because it's not easy.
The first night that we actually spent here was actually Thanksgiving night. And I have to say that was the best feeling in the world to finally own my home.
So right now I'm working for the New Bedford School Department. So I'm a parent support specialist at the New Bedford High School. And this is great. I love working with families, with the children, trying to provide the resources and the support. And I've learned from others. And so I received the support. Now I wanted to do that to others.
This is a good help, but you cannot be like stuck, I'm gonna live all my life in the same place. Go for more.
A lot of things happen in life during the process and you can't just stop because things happen in between.
So sometimes you just talk and you say, hey, this is what I'm looking for, this is what I want to do. And next thing you know, you get help from very unexpected places.
Whatever your goals, the New Bedford Housing Authority can help you achieve them through a new program called A Better Life. Step by step, we will help you gain the skills you need to build the future you want, one in which you can achieve the independence and self-reliance you want for yourself and your family. The New Bedford Housing Authority has already assisted many residents in reaching their goals they never thought were possible. Through A Better Life, we are committed to helping you too.
We're very confident that when you come back and visit us again, we'll have many more of those success stories. Cindy, raise your hand. That's Cindy. Cindy now works in the Ross program, representing the same people that we were here to help her. She's now out there helping those that live in public housing. So we're very grateful to have her and her staff. And so as I started to say earlier, that these programs don't come easy, and it takes a partnership and a team. And I don't want to name names of everybody in the room, but there's a lot of people here that signed letters of endorsement to help us get this grant that was necessary. And from the bottom of my heart to you, you see the end result. You see what we can do with some of our programs that we have now, and we'll do the same. And I thank you all for your support. Bob Unger, Bob, you can raise your hand, and Barbara LeBlanc, his wife, put that video together for us and did a very nice job. And I hope that had a little something to do with us getting the grant. So it was very well done, and I think it shows what these programs are all about, and it's money well spent. So no further ado, I'm going to introduce Laura Douglas, who is coming in from Bristol Community College.
Well, thank you so much. We are very excited to be a part of this program, and our role will be to provide academic, career, and financial aid, counseling, and support to students who are in this program. Yesterday, I had a very interesting day. I started my day out meeting with students who are in our adult basic education program. And I talked with them about why. Why did they decide to come back to school after so many years of not being in school? And it was so heartwarming to hear that they wanted to be in our program getting their high school equivalency because they wanted a better life for themselves, a better life for their children. They wanted to be knowledgeable people, and they wanted to be educated. These were students who said, I'm ready for the next step. I'm going to be completing my degree, and I need to go on and get the next level of skills. And after that meeting, I went to a local employer, Gladding Hearn Shipbuilders. They have about 100 employees, and I talked to them about their needs, and they said, we're really scared. We can't find the talent that we need for our company. And with offshore wind and other factors, we know demand for our ships will continue to rise, but we're afraid that we're not going to have the people with the skills. The challenge is, how do we fill that gap? So we have people, adults, who want to be educated and want skills, and we have employers who want skilled labor, but bridging that gap is so difficult without the resources. So A Better Life is that bridge to help our students and our citizens really make it not only into that place of being an educated, knowledgeable, proud human being, like Cindy, right? And being able to have great jobs. And these are jobs that make over $22 an hour with just a little bit more extra skill and education. So I really want to thank our Lieutenant Governor and her work and the work of the Baker Polito administration for the insight and leadership that it takes to really see how do we help individuals who really want to be a part of our strong workforce. So Bristol Community College is excited to be in New Bedford. We're just a block up the road for those of you who are from Gloucester. And then we also have a campus in Taunton, Massachusetts as well, one of the other partners for the grant. And we have very important relationships with the housing authorities, and I know we're working even more closely with our friends in Taunton. I understand that many of the residents tonight will be coming to our first Black African American Family Night in Taunton to learn more about the specific resources that we have to offer and to really give those families the knowledge and support to access college and adult basic education. So we're happy to also be in Fall River and Attleboro, and we're always willing to partner with or without grants. It's what we do. It's what we love to do. We find that with our help, we help families build wealth and become self-sufficient within one generation. And that's really a very important goal. And we know education is within reach, especially when we have great programs like A Better Life. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. I want to recognize Pat Sullivan, who's in the room representing the Mayor's Office. Pat's Director of Planning, Community Development, and Housing. Maybe not in that order? Pretty close? Okay, and so I want to thank Pat for stopping by, and Commissioner Leona Fisher is here representing the Housing Authority. I just want to acknowledge her presence here this afternoon. It takes a strong board to make these projects work, so we appreciate your stopping by. With that, I'm going to begin the introductions of the legislative delegation. There was a little tit for tat of who was going to come first, so we'll go by height. They're both Chris's.
As long as you don't go by weight.
Introduce a good friend of mine, Chris Markey.
Apparently he did go by weight, unfortunately. It's hard to describe these types of programs to people because so often you hear negativity about government, and government doesn't work for this, and government doesn't work, and there's no opportunities in government, and the programs don't work because the bureaucrats get in the way, and all of these things that there may be some ring of truth to it. But when you sit back and you think of the story of how this even came about, the fact that the Baker Polito administration actually spoke with local authorities to figure out how to do this, what works, and then give the money back to the people so that they can be flexible and have the opportunities for that to work. That's government working. That's what we're supposed to be doing. For the last 4 or 5 years, I've been the privilege of going to the Women's Fund each June, in which they have a LifeWorks program, which is unbelievable. It's probably the single most rewarding event I go to each year. I get goosebumps even talking about it, because it just shows how when people in a community get together, they can help people. And in the end, no matter all this stuff and pomp and circumstance that they have, government's job could be put down into one way. One statement that says, we're here to make sure people reach their potential. If government can get people to maximize their potential, we are in a much better place. That's what this program does. It allows people to maximize their potential. In every way of life, if you're a millionaire, right, we give incentives to you to invest, tax credits or whatever else. Why can't we give the poorest among us incentives the same way rich millionaires get incentives to develop things? That's simple government, and it works. So finally, we're doing it. And I think we really have to thank the Baker Polito administration for that opportunity to make sure that this is how government should work. And it should work for the super rich. We need the super rich to invest and to build buildings like this and to have it full like this. But we also need to have people who aren't reaching their potential. We need to get the hell out of their way and make sure they have those same opportunities so that someday maybe their grandchildren or their great-grandchildren can build a building like this and fill it up. So thank you very much. And again, finally, one of the things that I don't want to miss out on is Steve's job at the New Bedford Housing Authority. Being in an office like this, one thing, increases morale for all the people who work here. That's important. It's a difficult job to work. I actually worked in the Housing Authority when I was in college, cleaning empties and painting empties. Made me sure stay in school and made me sure realize the blessings I've had in my life. So it is a complex world in the Housing Authority, but the fact that he's able to get the funding, and you look at the New Bedford housing that's happened over the last 8 to 10 years, and the incredible improvements to the facilities. You go by a housing development now, and it doesn't look like public housing. That's because he's creative in the way he's get funding, he's creative in the way to get the people to work, and he's creative to give those incentives to the residents of the New Bedford Housing Authority. So Steve, great job, really appreciate it. I know what you do every day, and again, Lieutenant Governor, thanks again for everything.
Okay, I'm told we're running a little short of time, so I'm going to ask the next couple of speakers if you could just keep your remarks brief.
Sorry.
Is the next Mark Montigny?
No.
I'm sorry, I got to take that back. Next speaker we're going to have will be Mary from Senator Pacheco's office.
Thank you. Senator Pacheco was disappointed Lorraine couldn't be here today to congratulate every housing authority here, but in particular the Taunton Housing Authority for the wonderful job that they do to help their residents on a daily basis. Having served as a commissioner on the Taunton Housing Authority, I was able to see firsthand what they do on a regular basis through their resident services office for the residents. They have great success, but this program, thanks to the administration, is really going to help them double the amount of people that they're able to help receive self-sustainability. So again, congratulations to the Housing Authority and calling her team. Karyn, you've done a wonderful job there, and to the administration to recognizing that a little bit of resource will go a long way. Thank you.
And Representative Shauna O'Connell.
Thank you. I have to say, Lieutenant Governor Karyn Polito is correct that whenever she or the governor around, it is good news. And we love to see them in our communities. And they are often in our communities throughout the time that they've been in office. And that's something that we can all really appreciate because we all benefit from them working with us, expanding and creating these innovative types of programs that truly help people and empower them to change their situation in life. Having grown up in low-income housing myself, I know what it's like to be there, and I know what it's like to see people there year after year, decade after decade, generation after generation in the same situation. We didn't really have these kinds of programs when I was growing up in housing. And the fact that they're expanding them and offering them to people is just extraordinary to help them lift themselves up and become self-sufficient, to make all those connections, those important connections of education and job training, financial literacy, the things that people really need to get to a better place in life. And so this program is so appropriately named A Better Life because that, in the end, is what all people from all walks of life truly want. And so we thank the administration for everything they do in our communities, and particularly this program. I know all the housing authorities here care deeply about their jobs and about the people they serve and about the residents and helping them. And I know that they're going to do a fantastic job with these grants as well. So thank you for all your work, too, in our housing authorities. Thank you.
And as Lieutenant Governor said, the last speaker we'll have would be our newest state rep, who I've known his family for 50-some-odd years. Great people. We're glad to have him representing the North End of New Bedford and Acushnet. Representative Chris Hendricks.
Hello, everyone. I just want to make my comments brief. I just want to say thank you. Thank you for, prioritizing the most vulnerable among us, into what Representative Markey said. It's not just giving money to people and, if you succeed, great. If not, you're on your own. It's a collaboration with people, life coaches, employment opportunities, savings accounts. It's a huge thing, to be there for these people. As a recovering alcoholic, I know the importance of life coaches. Having a sponsor, and that's important to have that someone you can talk to. And no matter how old you are, you can always use the help, of a mentor, whether it be in recovery or how to just. Finding out how to pay your bills or get an education and provide for your family. So, and thank you for prioritizing this area, because you've been down here. This administration's been down here quite a bit, and we all thank you for that. And thank you, Steve, for those kind words.
Yep, I got it. Yep. And I can't say enough about my two friends from Boston. Amy and I have a loving relationship. We just did a project over in the West End of New Bedford that was a project from hell, is no other way to put it. Amy and I had a standing 6 o'clock conversation every day for 2 years. Yeah, and at the end of the day, we got it done, and we built 12 handicap units, all fully accessibly handicapped units. So it was an important project for this area, and I can't thank Amy. Amy is director of the Department of Housing and Community Development, and Aviva, who we work closely with on getting this grant here. I thank both of you for coming down from Boston. I appreciate it. For those that are heading back, Gloucester, Boston way, safe travels. Please. Did I miss?
Yeah, he said to close it out.
Okay. I apologize. I thought I hit Dave. Okay, so before I close it out, Dave is going to get up from Gloucester and say a few words. And then I won't get back up, but I just want to thank you all for coming, have some refreshments, take a walk around, take a look out the window, see what the New Bedford looks like from this height, and then welcome to take a coffee mug as a little gift from New Bedford Housing Authority. And thank you. Dave, come on up. I'm sorry.
I'm going to keep this really brief. First of all, I would like to congratulate the other housing authorities as well for this wonderful opportunity. we had a very unique experience in that DHCD actually gave us a one-year planning grant to work on these proposals. And I think that allowed us a very different journey than we would have had we were starting from scratch as we normally are in grant programs. I really would like to thank the Baker Polito administration for this unprecedented commitment to state public housing residents. We are, as an agency, we all know what our mission is, which is, we provide affordable housing, economic opportunity. We fight against housing discrimination on a daily basis. And as we've all talked about the bond bill, we've done a great job being able to finally make capital improvements in our state-aided developments over the past 10 years. But the one thing that we haven't been able to do on the state side is to make investments in our most important assets, which are our residents. Quite often and quite sadly, and it has irked me for over 35 years, public housing residents get a bad rap. They are quite often stigmatized within our communities, and it just boggles my mind. They should not be vilified. They should be celebrated for what they are doing on a day-to-day basis. All of us struggle from paycheck to some extent, but I can tell you from working with public housing tenants for the past 35 years, they're struggling minute by minute, day by day. They're struggling to pay the rent, pay the utilities, put food on the tables, get clothes, get the kids to school on time, fix the brakes on the 15-year-old car, which is broken down for the 10th time, hope that the relative or their friend who is doing the daycare doesn't give them a call or a text 10 minutes before they leave saying, guess what, I'm not going to be able to make it today. Dealing with language barriers, trying to navigate the school system, and everything else that we're all doing, but at an average income of less than $1,800 a month in Gloucester. That's difficult. And over a period of time, people lose hope, and sometimes, sadly, they lose their way. What is most important to us in Gloucester, and I think for all of us about this program, is it gives back hope to state-aided public housing residents and our family developments, really for the first time at an unprecedented level. They're going to be given life coaches to be able to help them to come up with their own goals so we can meet them where they are right now. I think I'd like to acknowledge Alice Sheridan and Liz Arder from the Gloucester Housing Authority, who would never come up here, but I'm acknowledging, so I'll embarrass them. But we've had a wonderful experience in the past year, really working with our residents and trying to find out, what do you want for this program? It doesn't matter what I want for the program or any of us in this room want. It's about them. And what everyone said basically is, we want a chance and we want someone there when we're having a bad day, when we're feeling we're not going to make it, someone who's going to help us, lift us up, and keep us going. And this is going to do that. We are having to do this program a little bit differently in Gloucester, as we call it. We may be the second port to our folks in New Bedford, but we're also an island community. And that makes life for us very different. I have a population, many of whom are proud that they do not go over the bridge, not on a daily basis, but on an annual basis. And how do you deal with that so that we can not only move people up and out, but help people to realize that not only do they need to embrace their existing community, but move out to the greater world where there are so many more opportunities. And I think this is going to give us the chance to do it. And what was amazing is the number of community partners that came forward. We found out, services that were available that we never knew existed. We have a very close network of agencies on the Cape Ann area. But one thing I'll bring up, the Gloucester Biotech Academy, which is an amazing agency, which is working to help build skills in the biotech industries. And they have a program which basically any of our residents are going to be able to do pretty much free of charge, where for a 9-month period, they are going to get training on how to be able to do genetics research, how to do genetics testing, and they are pretty much looking at being able to get entry-level jobs at a sustainable wage of the mid-50s to be able to start. And we had some great stories of people who had high school educations, had been working in restaurants in our communities as dishwashers for years, and within 1 year had really sustainable jobs. And that's exciting, and that's what I want for all of our residents, and that's what our residents want, and that's what they kept telling us. So again, thank you, and on behalf of our residents, this is going to make a real difference. And I hope that 3 years from now we can come back and tell you even more stories, and that we can replicate this across the Commonwealth. Thank you.